Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Now, since the turn of the hybrid era in 2014, Mercedes have dominated Formula 1, winning all of the last 4 Drivers and Constructors World titles along the way. However, following disappointing weekends in Bahrain and China where they were outpaced by rivals Ferrari and at times Red Bull, it is believed by many that the Mercedes era of domination is actually over. However, is that true, or is it just an overreaction far too early in the season? Well, we are just 3 races into 2018, and so yes, it is just an early overreaction. There is a long way to go this season. In fact, what is it, 18 races left? And a hell of a lot can change in that time. But before I give my views and opinions, let's have a look at the facts, starting off with Australia. And when the teams arrived in Melbourne, the talk of the paddock was the Silver Arrows' advantage in testing, many predicting that they were as much as 1 second faster than their nearest rival. And after what can really only be described as a scintillating qualifying lap by Hamilton, a lap that was almost 7 tenths quicker than the nearest Ferrari, it did look as though we were in for another year of total Mercedes domination. Now, in the race, of course, Lewis Hamilton did look in total control and only lost out due to Ferrari taking full advantage of the virtual safety car. Let's not get back into that one. But despite failing to win that race, it was still widely believed that the Mercedes was comfortably the quickest car. But when we moved on to Bahrain, that mood completely changed. A gearbox penalty for Lewis Hamilton, of course, coupled with his undoubted frustration at the nature in which he lost the race in Melbourne, left him with what appeared to be a very low mood, a mood which wouldn't improve over the course of the weekend. The whole team just looked a little bit flat. After qualifying, Sebastian Vettel was almost 2 tenths clear of the nearest Mercedes, and okay, Bahrain has always been a track that suited Ferrari, and they've always gone well there, and it was predicted Mercedes would struggle there because of the heat. For there to have been a swing of over 8 tenths in the space of 2 weeks in Ferrari's favour seemed massively excessive. But to be fair, despite the gap in qualifying, both Mercedes drivers did eventually end up on the podium. And then on to last weekend in China, a track which many regard as a Mercedes track. They always seem to have gone well there. But the Silver Arrows came out of qualifying over half a second behind the fastest Ferrari, a margin nobody expected to see. Their race pace was much better, of course, as we saw, and they did play a brilliant strategy, almost perfect, in fact, to grab that race lead from Sebastian Vettel and to take control of that Grand Prix. And in all honesty, that victory only got taken away from Valtteri Bottas and Mercedes because Red Bull were able to take full advantage of the safety car. But despite a much better race, the mood around the team just doesn't appear to have lifted since it dropped in Bahrain. You know, Lewis Hamilton has come out and described the car as the 3rd quickest at the moment, and despite denying that this car is a diva, Toto Wolff has said that the team have, and I'll quote him, much to understand about the car. And that's on top of so much more that has been said by the team. There doesn't appear to be a lot of positivity there at the moment. Very different to how it's been over the last 4 seasons. So is the era of domination really over for Mercedes, and are they really the 3rd fastest right now? I mean, it does look like it on the face of it, doesn't it? But let's not forget, despite failing to win any of the first 3 Grand Prix, something they haven't failed to do since the start of the hybrid era in 2014, they are still top of the Constructors' Championship. Lewis Hamilton is only 9 points behind Sebastian Vettel, with Valtteri Bottas, 5 further back? It just seems a little bit early, in my opinion, for people to be looking for this crisis or to be talking about a crisis at Mercedes. It's 3 races. As I said at the start, 18 to go. So much is going to change between now and the end of the season. And I'm going to be quite frank with this one. Let's not read too much into Red Bull's pace in China either. Yeah, okay, they won the race, but only as they were able to pit under the safety car and strap on a set of fresh soft tyres whilst their rivals struggled on well-worn mediums. Prior to that, although Red Bull were in the mix and they had good pace, Verstappen had a great start to get himself to 3rd, Ricciardo looked quick. Verstappen was not able to match the leaders and was 6.5 seconds behind at the first round of pit stops? And Ricciardo was down in 6th, 1.5 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, and didn't appear able to close that gap or try and make the move on the Mercedes. Okay, some of that's going to come down to dirty air. And to be fair, they were probably looking at strategy with Ricciardo and trying to keep him in that undercut window. Don't get me wrong, they look good this season. They're a hell of a lot better than they were at this point in 2017. And when you look at how last year ended for them, the signs are certainly good for Red Bull as the season progresses. But right now, they're not quite there. Whilst personally I do believe that we have left that era of Mercedes domination, there's no way we should be writing them off and discounting them at this point. At the absolute worst right now, Mercedes is 2nd fastest, with Ferrari having a slight edge, and it is a slight edge. I honestly do not believe there is that much between them. Baku is going to be a really interesting one this time around. Mercedes should go well there because of that super long straight, that incredible final 3rd sector. but it's going to be interesting to see how close Ferrari are. A lot think they're about even, some even saying that Ferrari have got the better engine now. Because of that long straight, Baku is going to be really telling, and we're going to get a better indication of where they are in relation to each other. And of course, last year, yeah, okay, because of a crazy race, Red Bull did pick up the victory there, so they may well be confident heading into the weekend as well. A phrase I've used a few times already this season is swings and roundabouts, and that's kind of how I view the 2018 season. There isn't one team out at the front that has a significant margin over the rest, and so it's all going to come down to how well a car is suited to a certain track, and also, of course, the rate of development over the course of the year, and that's what's going to make the difference at each race weekend. But as we've seen already this year, just because a car went well at a track in 2017, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be doing the same this year. And this is what we've been begging for so long now, and it is finally here. A close fight between Mercedes and Ferrari, with Red Bull close, getting in the mix and causing that little bit of drama and a bit more uncertainty at every race weekend, more so than in 2017. I cannot wait for the rest of this season. It is going to be so unpredictable and absolutely has the makings of a real classic season. They are, of course, just my opinions, but what are yours? Do you really think Mercedes are the third fastest on the grid at the moment? And which team do you think has the fastest package overall? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I will be back on Saturday with this week's news roundup, and don't forget to join us this Sunday, 6 PM UK time, for the F1 Word podcast live. In the meantime, though, you can follow me on social media, links to Facebook, Twitter, and to Discord, all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.